Hey Dons, and welcome to this week's edition of SAC News. I'm ARON Hernandez. This week, we visited a food giveaway program and talked to a pharmacist about what it's like to work during a pandemic. And later on, we talked to the Orange County Heritage Museum director. But first, our reporters share their stories.
SAC School of Continuing Education is offering free English classes to adults. Classes of varying levels are available for students to join live via their phone, tablet, or computer. Teachers will also set aside time for one-on-one instruction with students and offer free learning materials. To find more information and to register, visit the webpage for SAC Go.
The Santa Ana Unified School District has updated the community that they will be suspending in-class instruction through the end of the school year. Currently, graduation ceremonies and future summer school programs are being discussed at the district. Per Joey Almendarez, the superintendent, he has said that students are still going to be using online instruction and enrichment packets through the end of the school year. And as well as the free meal distribution program will be still in effect until the end of this school year.
Hi Dons, I'm Andrew LAPP. During the coronavirus pandemic, many Santa Ana residents left without income have been able to turn to local food drives for help. One of those food drives has been put on by the Power of One Foundation, a nonprofit organization that previously has set up drive-through food assistance programs at Santa Ana College as well as Main Place Mall. Residents can expect a package of fresh produce, milk, meat, and non-perishables waiting for them at the drive-through food assistance program. We visited one of these food drive-thrus to see for ourselves how it's done. Thousands of cars flocked to Santa Ana College this weekend to take advantage of a food giveaway program.
Today, we have an emergency food assistance site that we've been running for the last 3 weeks during this pandemic that's been going on, this emergency crisis. And what we're doing is we're serving families with about 50 to 70 pounds of groceries that they can take home and have in their house.
Trucks carrying food donations from local grocery stores supplied the abundant number of volunteers.
Our foundation feels really blessed. It's because the minute we've been on the front lines, we've had a lot of volunteer after volunteer say, hey, we want to be out there on the front lines with you. We love what you're doing. We're here. Call us.
Those volunteers were certainly needed for what has been the largest turnout for this food assistance program so far.
And over the span of the first 3 weeks, we've fed 13,000 people. And today, with our numbers, with the way it's going now, we can potentially feed 20,000 people just today.
The Santa Ana Police Department helped to organize lines of cars that stretched across parking lots and filled traffic lanes on nearby streets. Volunteers plan to return to campus again next Saturday to continue meeting the needs of the community. Reporting from Santa Ana for SAC News, this is Andrew Lapp. The Power of One Foundation will continue to set up drive-through food pantries every Saturday throughout Santa Ana. Visit their website to find out where they'll be each week. Still to come, I recently talked to a local museum director about the coronavirus shutdown, but first our reporter Jennifer Posadas interviews a pharmacy worker.
Awesome. So the first question is, how has your work environment changed since the pandemic started?
Yes, it's ongoing all the time. So anytime, new information comes out, we started off slow with, just getting information in, and then started to follow CDC guidelines, taking our time, explaining to customers kind of what's going on, to hand washing, sanitizing, doing the social distancing. I mean, it's definitely has progressed with what we know from the CDC.
Mm-hmm. And how has that affected you with your coworkers? I know that the behind the counter in a pharmacy, it looks very small. So how does social distancing measures work back there?
Yeah, so actually at our pharmacy, it's not too bad. Usually there are 2 or 3 staff at a time, and each of us kind of works at our own station. So there's an in window, out window, and then someone in the middle. So on the backside, we're doing pretty good. Customer-wise, we do try to keep our distance when we talk to them, just kind of, the over-the-counter section. When we do go out on the floor and talk to people, you're definitely more cautious about where we're standing. And then if we go out and do vaccines, we are hands-on, but we take the proper measures, gloves, and a mask is required to give vaccinations at this time.
Awesome. How much time did it take for any of those changes in your procedures to actually be implemented? Because I know it seems like it all just kind of snowballed in. Was it gradual, or did it all just kind of happen at once?
No, it kind of happened in little chunks. So first we started out with the hand sanitizing, having it at all stations, having to wipe down counters, hand washing. And then soon after that, we got our plexiglass, and we only got it on the out window, which was kind of the more important window. That's where everyone basically interacts more with the patients than just
Right.
dropping prescription. So we got that one first. There's markers on the floor where patients could be, they should be standing. So they do keep that 6 feet. I think in a week or two after that, we did get the plexiglass on the other side of the window. And at this point, they should be sometimes this week. They haven't gave us masks yet, but they are coming. So that should be implemented pretty soon.
Awesome. I'm glad that you guys are being able to keep up with everything. I know we've been hearing a lot from some of our essential workers in other fields that aren't being able to get that protection. So I'm really glad that those are coming soon for you. How have you been adjusting to this, like from work and possibly from like the home life of being an essential worker? Like, is that drastically affecting your home life as well?
Yes and no. I mean, we definitely try to wash our hands, change our clothes when we get home. My husband, also an essential worker, he does basically the same thing. So we're just kind of really cautious of what we do at work, and we try to be cautious at work and then take those same precautions here at home with the kids.
For all of that, how has that affected like your work hours? Like you said that there was like maybe like 3 or 4 of you at a time. So has that affected your work hours like drastically or not really? Or
working 40 hours a week, but we have extended our hours by 2 days because we have senior hours, which we are now opening at 7 in the morning, 2 days a week. And we still have kept our 9 o'clock closure except for Thursdays. So we just kind of tweaked our schedule a little bit to kind of help out the seniors, so they can come into the store and hopefully not be so crowded so they don't have to worry about their safety as well.
Right. And I know for like the hospitals, they've been saying that it's a little bit harder for people that normally go to hospitals anyway for like regular kind of incidents. Is there like a backup as well in kind of like the pharmacy world with people getting regular prescriptions?
Oh, definitely. At least in the beginning, it was pretty chaotic. Phones ringing all the time, people just worried about them not being able to get their prescriptions or sending up a mail order, which we do either mail order through the regular mail, or we do have a service where we can get it to their house the following day. So just in general, just all the questions coming from the patients having to do with mail orders as well. It was a little crazy at first. I think people are kind of calming down now because they are, we're reassuring them that it's going to be okay. And then we can certainly do our best to get their medication to them on time if they can't make it in themselves.
Oh, that's really good. From the medication side of things, like have you guys seen like a skyrocket in like vitamin boosting or like, I don't know, like cough medicine because of this? Like, is that mostly what's been out of stock?
Yeah, so everybody kind of went for the Tylenol, all cough stuff, all the zinc, any kind of like airborne or anything. If if you're getting sick, that pretty much is stuff we struggle with. We do try to get that on order basically every day, and the little bit that does come in goes pretty quickly.
Otherwise, like kind of from what you've heard and as a professional, like is that kind of what you'd just recommend for people to like just kind of be on guard? It's a lot of the sanitizing, like the distancing, and like kind of maybe if they have the cough medicine, maybe just try to take that right away if something feels like it might be up. Or
person individually based. I mean, depending on your symptoms and depending on the COVID-19 symptoms, I definitely tell them to keep track of that, especially if they're starting to have a temperature. Definitely try to contact their doctor and then seek, help if they do need it, either by calling their doctor or the nurse to see if they really do need to go to urgent care or if it's something specific that they should take care of, whether it deems a visit or not.
Okay. Awesome. That was all really great information. Thank you so much. Is there anything else, like any last kind of thing that you'd like to let people know about or anything like that?
just everybody just kind of be careful. If you are starting to feel ill, please stay home. Take this seriously, whether it's your own health or, just everybody around you. We do have to be especially careful with certain populations that can't fend for themselves. So, keep washing your hands, sanitizing if that's what you have to do. But we just want to, be as safe as possible to help stop this. The sooner the better, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. That was really great and very informative. And thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Hey, Dawns. Here I am with Jamie HIBER from the Heritage Museum here in Santa Ana. Jamie, thanks for being with me today.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad we could still do this, even if it's virtual. So let's just get right into it. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do right now at the Heritage Museum.
Sure. So I've been with the museum 8.5 years. I started as a volunteer, and for the last 6 years, I was director of events, weddings, director of social enterprise. So I was responsible for all of the revenue the museum brought in. But as of April 1st as in like last week, I took over as interim executive director of the museum.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So it sounded like a lot of what you were saying, I don't want to be too flippant about this, but it sounds like a lot of what you were in charge of has kind of probably been affected by the situation that we're in right now. Can we kind of if you don't mind, rewind the clock a little bit and let's go back to, I don't really know, when did things start changing at the museum? When did you guys have to start, you can start with when you guys first realized, oh, we're going to have to start bringing in more hand sanitizer. Or you can start with, I don't really know what the first steps were, so you can take it away from there.
Yeah, that's okay. I think a lot of this whole situation has been kind of everyone at the seat of their
Yeah.
pants, kind of now what? So kind of like everybody else, we were following the news and things seemed to be getting more and more intense day by day. I mean, literally new announcements coming out every day, if not multiple times a day. So when it seemed to be getting serious, we did host a staff meeting to kind of discuss what we're going to do, how we're going to handle it. That started with being extra cautious with sanitization and cleaning. We were cleaning doorknobs and things like that. And that seemed to last, I don't know, a day until they were like, hey, we might have to cut back on what we're doing here. And slowly but surely, school field trips started to have to cancel and postpone. And then I believe it was St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, when they officially announced, stay at home. Right. So, yeah, we never got so far as to install sanitizer stations or anything like that. We did meet with the health department to discuss with them what is recommended, and there's a whole slew of rules that go with installing sanitizer stations. They can't just be set up around the property. They have to be next to sinks, hand washing sinks, and for a small nonprofit like us, it was going to be a longer process than most other businesses. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so then when we finally got the stay-at-home order, we quickly devised a plan as to what we were going to do next. This might go into some of your further questions, but everything happened fast, so it all went together. And so we set up conference calls among management. We only have about 27 staff members at any given time, but we have 5 directors at the museum. So our number one priority was making sure our staff was going to continue to get paid, because at that time we thought we would be shut through April 1st. And so we were trying to figure out how we could get them paychecks for the interim of that. And so our directors set up, the first 72 hours of having to work from home was intense. I don't think of any of us have ever worked so hard. We were setting up online classrooms for trainings for staff. We were going back and forth. We had to do individual lesson plans for each individual employee, because they all have different roles and different things they need to learn. And we really do want them to get something out of this. We don't want to just give them work just so they have something to do. We
Right.
thought it
Trying
was
to avoid like busy work. Right.
yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Going back a second, if you don't mind, to when you were meeting with the health department, um, were you just talking about like hand sanitizer stations, or did they have any kind of like did they kind of like prep you for what to expect? Like, did they say, I'm not sure when exactly you met with them, but were they telling you like, okay, you're probably going to have to close, or what were their other recommendations?
So it's interesting because when we met with them, we were actually meeting with them for something totally different.
Oh, okay.
We were discussing new policies and things like that, but it obviously worked into the conversation, and we had had certain people come to us and say, are you going to install hand sanitizers, this and that? And so it came up because I just naturally had questions about that and wanted more information directly from them. So when we met with them, and I don't recall the exact date of that, even then, I don't think it was really on anyone's radar that it was going to get this far out. And so they kind of just went over the regulations for the hand sanitizers, what their requirements were for that, what their recommendations were for that. And we were like, okay, thanks for the info. And then literally within days, it was a totally different situation.
Yeah, I remember it was, yeah, just a few weeks ago. It was like every day it was just rapid change.
Yeah.
The warning that we got was, we think there might, be some closures at the school by the end of the semester. And then it was like next class, it was like those closures might be happening soon. And then it was, we're being closed, like this is like the last opportunity we're going to have to be here. Yeah, it was just super crazy.
Yeah.
So what are you guys, what's the situation at the museum right now? Like, is any part of it open? Because I know that a lot of, I was shooting at parks recently, shooting with a camera at parks, just because I know that like some things are closed, like some things, they have like signs up now, and they have like notices to let people know like, hey, you probably shouldn't, be using playgrounds and other like high touch surfaces and stuff like that. But for the most part, like a lot of like open spaces seem to be open. And if I recall correctly, like the last time I was at the Heritage Museum, there's a little bit of open space and there's trails and stuff. And I'm just wondering, like, is any of that open? Are there any plans to open any of that?
That's a really good question. So we are private property. So
Okay.
unlike OC Parks or anything like that, we're not open and public spaces for people to meander through. So we actually have gates and fencing and locks, and
Right.
we have limited public hours as is, just because we have a lot of private events. So we like to maintain that status quo. So we are 100% closed to the public right now, which is a bummer because that's our whole purpose, is to be here for the community. And it's hard because a lot of government officials and things are like, no, well, at least a couple days ago, we're like, enjoy those open spaces, go out on the trails, that kind of stuff. And it was confusing to people because they were like, wait, but you close? What?
Yeah.
So we are closed to the public, but like I kind of mentioned a minute ago, we are busier than ever. We do have staff presence on site every day. And per CDC recommendations, we're following all of that. And we have limited numbers there. Obviously, we're not hosting field trips or weddings or anything right now, so we don't have any of that staff, but we do have someone working in the office. We have our maintenance, landscaping, facilities all being maintained throughout this. And just because it is an uncertain time, there's limited access that anybody has. We've also been working with Santa Ana Police Department to assist us with ground check-ins and things like that, just to make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay. When it comes to things like the stuff that you had to cancel, like weddings and stuff like that, what has that been like? I feel like that's probably been like one of the craziest parts of like what you guys have had to deal with.
To be totally honest with you, it's devastating. It's really sad. for our couples, our wedding couples mostly, especially because that's what I have mostly been responsible for. So I actually know these couples. We become friends throughout this process, and
Right.
even if they were strangers, it's a sad, horrible situation. And because we have these long established relationships with these folks, luckily, we are not getting cancellations. They're primarily postponing to later dates. However, on the back end of that, there's a lot of financial predicaments that poses. So in regards to that, we're working with the couples. We are being as fair and lenient as possible in regards to the paperwork and all of that. And it's a lot of paperwork, at least on our end. And also with the school field trips, which are kind of different, because with the school field trips, there's a limited amount of time that they have to reschedule. I mean, they have to do it by the end of the school year, and they're not going to open back up. So with weddings, we can postpone it out another year or something, but this poses a big financial problem because these are all deferred payments, and it prevents us from booking new business. And so everything is just kind of at a standstill with that. But what do you do? I mean, everyone's going through it at the exact same time, and I kind of hope that there's some grace in that, if that makes sense.
Have you guys gotten any like further? I know you mentioned like the last time that you met in person with the health department people. Have you guys heard from them anything more recently as to like, no?
Nothing. No, we haven't been in touch. My assumption is they're probably busier with other things. But
imagine.
I haven't had any follow-up or anything like that, because I think they also kind of just assume we're closed. So
probably. Yeah. I mean, I was just wondering if there'd been any like, or what's it been like with postponing weddings? Like, has it been like, oh, we'll throw it out a year just to be safe? Is that kind of what you guys are defaulting to? Or is there anyone who's like, you know, really hoping to get their wedding in by the end of the summer or anything like that? I imagine.
All of the above. And it's so hard. The hardest element about all of this for everybody is that there's this unknown factor, that there is no end date to this. We don't know. This could last another 3 weeks. It could last another 3 months. So it's really difficult for us because we work off of a fiscal year. So our fiscal year ends, the end of June.
Right.
So no matter what, on our end, all of these postponed weddings, they're not postponing to June. It's going to be in the new fiscal year. Most of our couples want to get married as soon as possible, of course, but at the same time, we have limited availability. So some are being forced to push it out even further than they want to. But we are getting rebookings for July, August, September, and heaven forbid this goes on further than we want it to. We'll just postpone again. And there's nothing you could do.
Not a whole,
We want to get them married. So I do have kind of like a sweet commentary to that. So the first weekend when we officially shut down, March 17th, that weekend, that was what, a Tuesday? That weekend we had 4 weddings booked. 4.
Okay.
Like that immediately it was like, okay.
The timing like could not have been worse.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, this is the busiest time of year for weddings and field trips. So with those 4 weddings, I mean, a lot of those couples already had their marriage licenses. There's all that end of it. So even though our couples couldn't get married at the museum, the ones that had their marriage licenses, they still tied the knot at home, and they're still postponing the celebration with us, but they still included us, and they've been sending us pictures and
that's nice.
I know it's really nice to have that positivity and reminder, and I don't know. It's silver lining.
It's something, right?
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Okay. Well, Jamie, thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else, like any other nice little sweet stories we want to throw in here so that we can, like, I don't know, help get us through the rest of the week?
Yeah. The main thing is just know that we're working really, really hard. One of our main focus is to be here for the community and to be here for you. So there are things that we're doing, even though you can't come visit us. We are doing a lot of social media work to create interactive, fun activities. So if you follow our Instagram, Heritage NUSOC, we're doing like different hashtags every day of the week. So we want you to post your pets on Monday, Museum Pet Monday, Tricky Tuesday. We're putting out word scrambles and word searches and all kinds of fun stuff like that, which are also listed on our website, heritagemuseumoc.org. Also some more things on Facebook. We've been asking people to share their home collections with us. All kinds of fun stuff. So if you're looking for a good distraction, follow us and we'd be happy to make friends with you.
Excellent. Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, I probably will because I'm getting tired of online Scrabble tournaments.
Yeah, come hang out with us.
All right. Jamie, Heber, thanks again for your time, and hopefully we'll talk again soon. The city of Santa Ana has closed local skate parks in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. When we visited, a small group of skaters had congregated nearby, but were unable to use the facility. Other parks in Santa Ana remain open for the time being, but signs advising visitors to follow social distancing guidelines have been posted. At the time, visitors seemed to be following the guidelines closely, keeping their distance from each other and our news crew, as well as avoiding high-contact surfaces that hadn't been fenced off, such as playgrounds. That's it for this week, Dons. Be sure to keep an eye on our YouTube channel as we continue to do our best to bring you news coverage through these difficult times. And of course, stay safe.